Is up, YouTube? Today we're going to present to you a Opera Omnia Dissidia Final Fantasy content of a different variety. This is a collaboration between Destroth, Mihara 09. I'm sorry I've said your YouTube name so wrong, but from now on I'm going to refer to you as Rashmon, because that is your name in our little group. Xcaliblur, Theologica, Serial, Scott Ong, and myself, the Spoony Bard. So what we're going to do is go over some discussions of our favourite calls under different categories. So I will say a category, explain some examples, and then cover our favourite calls. So hopefully this goes quite well. So our first category is defensive calls. These are calls that allow us to prevent damage to our party in different ways, shape or forms. So for example, Rydia with evasion, Wall with HP shields, Keita with evasion and bravery freeze, Raijin with just telling an enemy no, you can't play the video game, or Aphmu and Guy who just have straight out HP damage reduction. So the first major one we'll go over here is Warrior of Light, which is favorited by Theologica, Xcaliblur, and Scott Ong, which is absolutely understandable because when it comes to HP damage heavy fights, let's not go over bravery incoming damage because this weakens wall shields, but HP specific, especially with enemies that charge brave and do big HP attacks, Wall on average LD will give you around an 80,000 HP shield for free, which is nice on a free button press. And of course you can top that shield up again with the base call. And it doesn't really require much timing. Just press a button and you're kind of safe. Destroth's personal favourite is Rydia. So Rydia grants the party perfect evasion for 3 turns. However, this doesn't protect you from guaranteed attacks. So you can ignore bravery damage, you can ignore HP damage. The only problem is if you take a bravery attack without HP attack combined, then you're kind of losing 1 stack of your blink. But other than that, that's not often bosses do a lot of like bravery HP. A lot of the time now it's brave plus HP or brave charge plus HP, so Rydia is good in that regard. Of course, just bear in mind she can't protect you from guaranteed hits, just like any other evasion-based character. And then she also has the added utility of Water Enchant and Imperil, and she has what I refer to as Super Imperil, which is nice to have between her 2 calls. But just remember you have to use her LD call to apply the Super Imperil, but the base call to apply the Enchant to your party. Serial's personal favourite is Raijin. So Raijin can literally shut enemies down that attack regularly or sort of attack without taking a turn per se. So enemies that have off-turn attacks, so when they reach thresholds it can stop them. It can stop them inflicting debuffs as well. So it will just completely shut them down, and he's a very safe, very protective call. And then there's Rashmon's, which gives shield, last stand, and a full heal to the caller, which on paper is actually very nice. And with it brings a full free EX charge, so I know the little trick to this Rashmon is you really like using Emperor, so enjoy those 4 back-to-back EXs just before going into Bahamut phase, I guess. No, joking aside, Shulk can protect 1 member quite well. So, now, I suppose, now I cover my personal favourite defensive call. I'm going to say it is Wall. I would say Setzer, but he doesn't have framed freeze and is slightly unreliable because of that. So if I know I'm going to take a lot of damage heavy incoming attacks, I would definitely say Wall is my favourite in that regard. So the next category of calls we'll go over is Nuke Calls. So these are calls that immediately apply heavy damage to the board straight away, come out the gates, bam bam bam, lots of damage. Examples of this are obviously Cyan, Cyan. I would say Cyan personally, but hey, Prish, Ida, Seymour, and Sid Reigns. So they deal big damage. These are going to become also a bit more prevalent with FR era, because you can build a large FR meter, use one of them, and just explode something. So, without a doubt, the majority favourite picked by Destroth, Xcaliblur, Theologica, and Serial is Cyan. He has high splash, he does guaranteed because it ignores defense, and he just absolutely trucks. As a call, this man is monstrous damage very quickly. And even though I skipped his LD, I can't deny that. For Scott Ong, it's Prish. It's huge single target damage, and then the utility of her +1 brave attack per hit to the party, which is, ooh, mwah, c'est magnifique. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm probably going to say now, my favourite nuke call is Prish as well. Without a doubt, it's Prish. Even though my Ida's blue, but that's because I blued every FF14 character. But let's not go over that. And for Rashomon, it's Sid Reigns. So Sid Reigns does big damage himself. I mean, yeah, if you put Ultimate Weapon Fists on him too, he can reach like 1.2 million off his LD call alone, if there's not launch resists. Gives launch boost, or guaranteed launches during BT phase to the character, so that's additional 300k plus damage per participating party member, which during BT phase is all party members. And he can also turn manipulate, so he's guaranteed to bring the 2 party members straight away anyway, unless the boss does some gimmicky weird mechanics to mess your turn order up. But you're going BT phase, so it doesn't matter. So after that, we move to our next category. So yeah, Enchant Imperil is what it sounds like on the tin. So being able to enchant the party with a specific element and making the enemy weak to that element. So in this category as examples, we have Radia and Garnet for water enchantment, Ignis and Lulu for fire enchantment, Ash and Cryo, whichever way you want to say it, for thunder enchantment, and also holy enchantment on Ash. We have Zande for dark enchantment, Kurosame for ice enchantment, and Fujin for wind enchantment. Now please bear in mind, this is not every example of enchantment, because there are more out there. So now, down to personal picks, and without a doubt, Destroth, Xcaliblur, Theologica, and Scott Ong have all gone for Kurosame. This man was the meta call for a reason, and without a doubt deserves the highest pick rate in this category. And I intentionally skipped this man because I got annoyed at people telling me I needed him to beat content. But I can accept. Kurosame needs no explanation as to why he is such a good enchant call. Serial's personal pick is Dadash. Let me behave responsibly here. So she applies a double enchant elemental bonus up and a 6-turn call. So if you put it on a slow unit, which I believe Serial's exact example was putting it on Tankoron and just letting him non-exist in turns. So then you get your full party enchant, get elemental damage up, and it doesn't really go down. And it's 6 turns. 6 turns is huge, really. Considering people like Ignis only last 3 turns for the enchant to the party. But then Rashomon is Garnet. So as long as the Imperil can be maintained, I am a native English speaker. I should be able to speak English. as long as it can be maintained, because it is a non-framed buff, she has the longest enchant time at 20 turns. Now, with her base call applying 10 turns to a party member and applying the Imperil to the enemy, and her secondary, and then using her LDCA to reapply it, she will consistently give the water enchant. And as long as you can keep water enchant on the enemy, which you might be able to do via other party members too, she has great sustainability for her buff in that regard. Or if the enemy's just naturally weak to water. Personally, my favourite elemental call is probably gonna be Fujin, because it's the only one I've actually tended to use. Like I said, I skipped Kurosame because people said you needed him to beat content. That was literally my reason for skipping him. But I use Fujin quite a fair amount just to give quick enchants to my party, to my non-enchanted party. So then I could use Diablo Summon because I was an absolute scrub. But Fujin also, between CA and LDCA, I think lasts 14 turns of Wind Enchant. Which 6 turns out from Garnet's 20, as long as you can maintain the water debuff. So, you know, not a terrible option. But, I mean, what else are you going to use Fujin for? Sorry, Fujin, but even FR didn't save you. So now, we move on to the damage boosting calls. So, these are calls that enhance your damage in different ways. So, for example, Kurosame through his HP damage up, Seymour through his debuff at thresholds, at HP thresholds, Kite Sif, bravery per critical hit, Precious +1 bravery per hit dealt, or Jack, giving defense down and bravery damage dealt up. Because, you know, Jack was super meta at one point. Where did he disappear off the radar? So, no surprise, for Theologica, Scott Ong and Rashman is Prish. Prish is probably one of the best BT phase damage boosting calls, period. To this day, I don't think that point can easily be argued without implying personal opinions. She is statistically one of the highest and strongest LDCAs for buffing BT phase users. For Destroth, it's Kite Sif. Now, Kite Sif is good for providing bravery when you can't do much damage, but as long as you can deal a critical hit, you're going to get it. And as long as you're doing a lot of bravery hits, you're going to get a lot of refund back, especially if you're using like BT heavy teams or even Y'shtola. Y'shtola plus Kite Sif is, oh, it's a sight to behold. I like it. But Kite Sif would be my second favourite. Cereals is Seymour, straight 30% brave damage and 30% HP damage up. How could you not like that? I mean, seriously, it's free real estate, as they would say. And Xcaliblur's is Leo. So anybody who deals single target damage, and I would even go as far as saying Kane when he comes out, because his S2 has like 7 dumps on it. It can enhance it from doing 1 million to near 1.5 million easily. I saw it when it launched on JP, because I tried to get Kane FR and BT on JP when it first came out, and then I quit JP. And I did JP again, and then I quit JP. I have problems with starting on JP. Let's not go over JP. But anyway, Leo is insane. He works amazingly for increasing damage for people like Tidus. He works amazingly for Kane. He works amazingly for Machina, who's due to get his C90 rework early. As long as the target does not AoE shave, regardless of whether they do splash or a split damage or whatever, as long as they do not AoE shave, this is the key point. It's the bravery damage. Leo gives you an extra 10% max bravery damage per dump. And he is just free damage. How could you say no to free damage? But I like Prish, I like Kite Sif, I like Leo. And I probably made it seem like I really like Leo. But actually, one of my favourite damage boost calls is Alicea. Because she gives quad element down, quad element up. Yeah, why wasn't she in elemental enchant for me, I guess? But then the effect of the bravery gen on critical hits, it's very selfish, but I prefer her effect to Kite Sith, personally. But then pair it with Kite Sith and an Ishtola and Party. I might just make a video on that myself just to demonstrate how absolutely stupid that is. Yeah. So then we move on to utility. So utility is a category where we might have hit other areas, but our reason for putting them in here is the utility they bring. Now, utility is things as simple as deleting enemies' turns, or moving party members' turns, or granting fully X Gorges, or chance against fully X Gorges. So, for Destroth, Theologica, Scott Ong, and Xcaliblur, it's Seabor. Because, let's put it this way, he full dispels. Before he does anything, he full dispels. Then he does lots of damage and gives you a big damage up buff, which we've explained previously. And he delays everybody by 2 turns. It's like Cloud LD on steroids. Like, it's not something to be snuffed at. For Serial and Excalibur again? Really? Really? You put him down for like 2 top picks? Did he really pick 2 things as first pick? Does he give a second pick? No, this should be in second pick. So I'm going to say Serial. Just for Serial is Sid Reigns. Sid Reigns, the aeroplane, pull party members, give guaranteed launch, extra launch damage, what's not to like? Especially because pulling party members means they're guaranteed to join the launch, the next launch you create, and also, manipulate around bosses. And for Rashomon, no surprise, is Shulk, as mentioned earlier. Full cleanse. Oh, and dispel to enemy, but only to the caller. Shield last stand, guaranteed EX charge. And I definitely want to say, without any bias, this is because this man, I hope you're a man, and now I've called you a man. I really do not feel like doing this entire recording again because I've said that. Really likes to use Emperor. Not that I can blame you, his damage output is quite ridiculous. For my first pick on utility, oh boy, what would I go for on utility? Do you know what? I'm going to say Mog. Because nobody thinks Mog is useful. Apart from maybe like 10 people, which now I've just provoked by saying that. But Mog has Confuse Chance, Mog has AoE Party Cleanse, Mog has Party Healing. He's a helpful little Moogle. She, it, whatever. Stop assuming gender stereotypes. This is 2022. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. But my first pick would be Mog for utility. For second picks, Destroth has gone for Raijin, which purely because of being able to prevent the enemy from inflicting debuffs. I've already gone over this. I'm a native English speaker. I should be doing this fine. Preventing the enemy from inflicting debuffs can be very important, especially bosses that can rely on a stacking debuff or can cripple you with stacking poison debuffs, or even just cripple you with debuffs in general. For Serial, it is Safer. Now I'm going to say it like that because Scott absolutely despises Safer. And it's not because of how he is in this game, he just doesn't like him in FF8, I assume. Is the whole thing behind that? Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Scott. And purely because 3-turn delay over his entire, both his calls, and a very potent defense down buff. Now, it's not often we see defense heavy enemies, but when we do, this is big. Like, it's relevant. For Theologica is Selfie. So Selfie on entry with her calls can provide her aura buff, which gives faster EX charge. So it gives 6 turns overall between both her calls, I believe. Someone's going to correct me because I'm going to be wrong, but I believe it's 3 turns per each call you'll get out of it. And it can also be extended. So if you are using, for example, Yuna, who can extend buffs, I have forgot people who can extend buffs. There's like 4 people who can do it, and I have forgot every single one of them, bar Yuna. But Yuna can extend buffs. Tidus can self-extend buffs, I guess. Yeah. You guys know all who it is. You'll put in the comment section about me being an idiot or something. For Scott Ong, it's Leo because of the 2-turn delay. The precision buff, which gives wasn't it 100% brave damage up against single target or something? Precision buff is ridiculous. Like, precision is 70% of why Leo... No, that's a lie. 30% of why Leo is so good. Because 70% is the last part, which is the free 10% damage on every single target. Every single target brave into HP hit. This is key. I explained it earlier. That is key. That is important. For Xcaliblur, I'm going to say it's Sid Reigns now because he was above. For some reason, my script was giving me Xcaliblur as double main pick. So I'm going to say his secondary pick is Sid Reigns now. As I said I would earlier, I am not covering Sid aeroplanes again. Please God, no. And for Rashman, you, my good sir, have sneakily snuck this man in. His second utility pick is Onion Knight. Turn manipulation, free skill usage to yourself and your party members. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's quite handy at times. I've used Onion Knight myself, personally. I've used Onion Knight a lot as a character, not a call. I've used him as a call in the past. I've used him as a character a lot more now. Yeah, yeah, that saga's probably ending, though. So, you sneaky man, you trying to make my day there. And my second utility pick will be the pick I mentioned when I caught all this information going out before I offered to be Destroth's voice actor for a day, will be Hope. Why Hope? Because his LD gives a nice debuff to the enemy for magic users, but it's not really important. He can ram your boss slots full, so you don't need to deal with annoying enemy debuffs unless they cleanse and then put them on, but that's not very often, so you don't have to worry about enemy debuffs because your boss slots are full, which can also be problematic, don't get me wrong. But he can ram your boss slots full, and he has heal overflow, which is nice, because it's always nice having an extra bit of HP over your maximum HP. Because if you take damage, you might not, or take like a bit of poison damage, you might not actually fall into your normal health bracket, and then you won't fail very ridiculous HP conditions, like 5,000 on stages that do a lot of damage. I'm looking at you, Raijin IW, that I failed because a call took a hit. Anyway, so thank you for listening to me rattle on and rant on for I don't know how long now. Please like, subscribe for Destroth's road to 1,000 subscribers. And come check the rest of us out. I'm pretty sure you'll have links in the description or something, or at least our YouTube names will be on the screen, so come find us. We all do stupid DFO I'm not going to call it DFFOO stuff. Dissidia, Final Fantasy, Opera Omnia stuff. We all do crazy stuff. Okay. I hope this is good. Peace.